scorching sun of the Arabian Peninsula, a kingdom emerged, one that would come to hold the world's energy supply in its grip. But behind the sands of Saudi Arabia lies a tale of power, oil, religion, and an enduring alliance with the world's superpower, the United States. From Bedouin tribes to billion-dollar arms deals, this is the story of how desert kings became global players and why the White House keeps knocking on their palace doors. Long before oil, Saudi Arabia was a land of wandering tribes and sacred lands. Its deserts witnessed the rise and fall of ancient civilizations like the Nabateans and Layanites. But it was the city of Mecca, birthplace of the Prophet Muhammad, that would forever define the region's global significance. By the 7th century, Islam had united the warring tribes into a powerful religious force, with the Arabian Peninsula at its spiritual heart. In the 18th century, a pivotal alliance formed between Muhammad ibn Saud, founder of the House of Saud, and Islamic reformer Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab. This pact of political might and religious orthodoxy birthed the first Saudi state, a fiercely conservative regime rooted in Wahhabi doctrine. Though it collapsed, the ideology endured, setting the stage for a future kingdom with religion as both shield and sword. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire during World War I left Arabia fragmented. Ibn Saud, a brilliant military tactician and tribal diplomat, launched a series of campaigns that ultimately led to the founding of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 1932. By unifying the Hejaz and Nejd regions, he established a monarchy that would rule with absolute authority, backed by religious legitimacy and ruthless enforcement. Then came oil. In 1938, American geologists struck black gold in Dhahran, ushering in a new era. The formation of Aramco, Arabian American Oil Company, turned the barren sands into a financial empire. For the U.S., this was a godsend, a reliable source of oil and a strategic ally in the Middle East. For the Saudis, it was the key to modernization on their own terms. The 1945 meeting between President Franklin D. Roosevelt and King Abdulaziz aboard the USS Quincy cemented the U.S.-Saudi alliance. The deal was unspoken but clear. The U.S. would protect the kingdom militarily, and in return, Saudi Arabia would provide oil, lots of it. This bargain, forged on the waters of the Suez Canal, remains the foundation of U.S.-Saudi relations to this day. The oil boom of the 1970s transformed Saudi Arabia overnight. Skyscrapers pierced the desert sky, and cities like Riyadh and Jeddah flourished. But modernization came with tension. The strict Wahhabi interpretation of Islam clashed with rising Western influences. The 1979 seizure of the Grand Mosque in Mecca by extremists shook the regime to its core, triggering an even more conservative religious clampdown. Throughout the Cold War, Saudi Arabia became a bulwark against Soviet influence. The kingdom funded anti-communist movements, including the Afghan Mujahideen, efforts that were often coordinated with the CIA. Yet this alliance of convenience would sow the seeds for future conflict, as radical elements empowered during this time evolved into global terrorist threats. In 1990, Saddam Hussein's invasion of Kuwait prompted the U.S. to launch Operation Desert Storm. Saudi Arabia allowed American troops to be stationed on its soil, a move that protected the kingdom but outraged many Muslims. Osama bin Laden, once a U.S. ally in Afghanistan, turned against both America and the Saudi regime, citing this as a major grievance, a spark that would lead to 9/11. After the September 11th attacks, 15 of the 19 hijackers being Saudi nationals, the alliance faced unprecedented strain. Yet, instead of rupture, it deepened. Saudi Arabia cracked down on extremist networks, while the U.S. doubled down on arms sales and intelligence cooperation. Oil and counterterrorism kept the partnership afloat, even as criticism mounted over Saudi Arabia's human rights record. During the Obama years, relations cooled. The U.S. pivoted toward Iran with the nuclear deal, alarming Riyadh. Saudi Arabia, feeling betrayed, launched its own assertive foreign policy, including the brutal war in Yemen. Behind the scenes, a generational shift was underway, one that would culminate in the rise of a bold and controversial crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, presented himself as a reformer. His Vision 2030 plan aimed to diversify the economy away from oil, empower women, and modernize Saudi society. Movie theaters reopened, women gained the right to drive, and the kingdom embraced high-tech ambitions like the Neom megacity. But behind the PR blitz lurked authoritarianism. The murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018 cast a dark shadow over the young prince's image. Enter Donald Trump. In 2017, Riyadh hosted Trump on his first foreign trip as president, a move loaded with symbolism. Lavish deals were signed, including $110 billion in arms sales. Trump was welcomed with a ceremonial sword dance and that now infamous glowing orb photo with Arab leaders. But the visit signaled more than diplomacy. It was transactional politics on a global scale. Trump's administration aligned closely with MBS, even after the Khashoggi killing. Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, developed a personal rapport with the Crown Prince, communicating privately over encrypted apps. Some reports suggest they discussed sensitive intelligence. After leaving office, Kushner received a $2 billion investment from a Saudi fund, raising eyebrows over blurred lines between public service and personal enrichment. President Biden once vowed to make Saudi Arabia a pariah for human rights abuses. But global realities intervened. As gas prices soared and the Ukraine war disrupted energy markets, Biden found himself in Riyadh, fist-bumping the very man he once condemned. Realpolitik had returned. The U.S. needed oil and regional stability. Saudi Arabia wanted security guarantees and legitimacy on the world stage. A new power is rising in the region, China. In 2023, China brokered a surprising diplomatic thaw between Saudi Arabia and Iran, two longtime rivals. This signaled a possible shift in global alignment. Riyadh is no longer just America's client. It's playing a complex game with multiple partners, including Russia and China. The kingdom's growing role in BRICS and interest in de-dollarizing oil trades signal deeper changes ahead. So where does this all lead? The Saudi-US relationship is no longer just about oil. It's about influence, technology, counterterrorism, and controlling global narratives. As the world shifts toward renewables and geopolitical alliances reshape, Saudi Arabia is recalibrating. It seeks to be a player in a multipolar world, sometimes with Washington, sometimes without. From tribal confederations to global influence, the story of Saudi Arabia is one of transformation, but its partnership with the U.S. remains a strategic anchor, fraught, evolving, yet enduring. As leaders change and interests shift, one thing is certain. Behind every handshake and arms deal lies a deeper calculus of power. Thanks for watching Footprints of History. If you found this story eye-opening, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a new journey through the past that shapes our future. Until next time, remember, history isn't just behind us. Its footprints are all around.